Hi everyone, Jessica Morales joining you now with Matthew Wilhoit, who's the Vice President for Siemens Unconventional Oil and Gas. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start off by talking about, as the Vice President of Unconventional Oil and Gas at Siemens, what do you think are some of the key issues facing the Permian, and really how is Siemens working to solve those issues?
Yeah, if you look at the Permian overall, one of the biggest challenges we see right now is around power, right? There's just not enough capacity in the grid and more power demand. So, for example, operators, right? You got production growing at an immense rate. You have all kinds of production needs for power, and there's just not enough, right? The grid cannot keep up. So we are working heavily to address that with temporary and fast power solutions. We've created a whole portfolio around fast power that allows operators to put power where they need it, whether it's in remote regions or not. Another issue we see in the Permian is around just the roads, right? Mm-hmm. Roads are very busy, they're very dangerous. You have heavy, big equipment going down. You even have like no-go roads nowadays, right? Where there's just too many cars, too many accidents. So one of the things we're trying to do is to do the same job with less equipment, right? A smaller footprint. Mm-hmm. And the easiest way to enable that is with higher horsepower equipment. And by electrifying certain operations, you're actually able to do that. You can use higher horsepower equipment that can fit on the same size trailer, and it will mean less trucks going around the road. So we're really trying to help in that space. So really power, I would say, traffic, and then of course emissions. You've got a lot of flaring going on in the Permian Basin, and so anything that you can do to reduce the amount of flaring is really important.
Yeah, it's a very big topic we've heard about. What issues are operators facing, and why should operators go all electric, if you can expand on that a little more?
Yeah, so I just touched a little bit on flaring, and I think that's the biggest issue is we have so much excess natural gas. It's a great resource to have. Unfortunately, it's not exactly where we need it, right? So operators have lots of excess gas, and they're not necessarily using that to fuel their operations. So first and foremost, developing a full electric plan all the way from drilling through completions and production is really important. And if you can leverage natural gas as a fuel, for example, in gas turbines, then you can create microgrids to power your operations. So that was really a key thing for operators to focus on. And then of course if you think about the use of natural gas, it comes with a 10 to 12% reduction in CO2 compared to, say, their diesel operations. So just by switching fuels alone, you get the benefit of better emissions and utilizing what's essentially a free gas in the region. And then you add on top of that the benefits for the service companies who are using the electric equipment with lower maintenance.
Matthew, I'd also like to ask you about SEAM. What is SEAM, rather, and how is it enabling customers to reduce costs, improve safety, and of course lowering emissions?
So SEAM stands for Siemens Electric and Mechanical Solutions. It's essentially a brand of solutions that we're taking to the market to customize different options for customers based on their needs. So if you're just trying to set up a full electric frac spread and you don't really know where to start, Siemens will help you customize that whole solution. If you're an operator looking to plan a full field development all the way from drilling, again, through completions and production rather, we can help you map out the electrical flows in the field and kind of what will your power needs be. So whether it means specifying mobile gas turbines, electric motors and drives, switchgear, all the associated equipment you would need, that's really where we're heavily focused, helping both operators and service companies.
And additionally, how are Siemens solutions for mobile power and electric frac different from the competition, if you can expand on that?
Well, maybe just focusing on the temporary power aspect of it. We've taken our gas turbines, which we've had for many years, and we said, well, how do we make them more oil field ready? And what does that mean? It means you need to be able to get to site and set up very quickly. So ours have been designed from the ground up for mobility. One of our turbines can set up in 45 minutes. So think about that. You pull up to site, you level the unit, you hook up your gas supply, and you can have a full power plant operating in less than an hour. Wow. So that's a pretty incredible feat that we've been able to overcome. Everything that we design is built for road ready, no heavy lifts, very, very mobile, and that's quite important. I think the other part that we're looking at is really end-to-end solutions. If you don't design a full electrical solution from end to end, you're going to inevitably have problems, whether it's harmonics in the system or other types of electrical issues. So really looking at it from a big picture, doing the grid studies that are required to ensure the system is going to work properly. It's something that Siemens has been doing for many years in many different industries, and it's what we're really doing to help our customers in the Permian.
In the 100th Permian Basin issue, you highlighted the SGT-300. Could you talk about other mobile power units that you offer and what the difference is?
Well, the SGT-300 really is a cool one. I have to comment on that one again because it's the largest single power block on a single trailer, right? So you have a complete power plant on one trailer, and that's really our design methodology, is fit as much as you can on one trailer, make it easy for a service company to get around or an operator to utilize it. Another really cool one we have is called the SGT A05, and the A stands for aeroderivative, which means this comes from the aero industry, right? So you think about airplanes, they start and stop all day. They're meant for to be very lightweight. So this is a very, very small turbine. If you saw it in person, you wouldn't think it's real. It's really a small turbine. So it's the lightest weight turbine on a single package. It's at just over 100,000 pounds for a complete power plant. It's just like a typical frac truck size, right? It's pretty small and nimble. It's just under 6 megawatts of power. You can start and stop all day. It has low emissions, all kinds of good things you'd want in a power plant. Very fuel flexible. So it's a great product.
Sounds like a good asset. Aside from electric frac, where else can these mobile power units be used?
It's a great question. We're actually getting calls from all over the world right now for temporary power, not just in the oil field. Of course, in the oil field, you can use it for production power, for gas processing and treating facilities, for electric frac. But outside of that, we're getting calls from, for example, in the Caribbean or other island nations in Southeast Asia where they need power. Globally, energy demand is growing, right? Population is growing. And so we see the need for power growing substantially. Africa, all over the world for temporary power, for emergency power. You think about when we have a big natural disaster, even in the U.S., FEMA, they need mobile power units that could come on site very quickly. So we're seeing kind of a broad general need for these smaller turbines, less than 30 megawatts.
And I imagine something like that can be very helpful in a stressful situations like that if there is a disaster as well.
Absolutely, but it just comes with planning, right? Just like anything, whether you're planning for power needs in the oil field or if you're planning for different parts of the world needing power, you just have to have the assets kind of in the region so you can deploy them quickly. The nicest thing, though, is, again, utilizing natural gas. If you think about the Caribbean islands, they're burning heavy fuel oil and really dirty fuels. If you can convert them to natural gas, of course, it's a much cleaner way to get power.
Matthew, additionally, can you talk a little bit about the savings that are associating with electrifying operations?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost is the fuel, right? So if you're using wellhead gas, that's essentially a free fuel, or maybe there's a little bit of associated land rights you have to pay for the fuel, but you're seeing anywhere from 80 to 90% savings by using wellhead gas. If you're using compressed natural gas or CNG, you're still going to get 30 to 40% savings of fuel costs, which is substantial. Then you got to think about your drivetrains, right? So you electrify and you put electric motors and variable speed drives in place of diesel-driven mechanical drives. And the nice thing about an electric motor is you have 98% uptime, right? And the maintenance costs go down, again, easy 30 to 40% on a drivetrain associated with the legacy diesel equipment. So there's a huge savings there. The biggest thing we're focusing on now, though, is helping our customers use higher horsepower, more efficient pumps. And if you can get more efficient pumps on a trailer, there's associated maintenance cost savings that come with that as well. Less trailers going to site, less people at site, and of course, less maintenance.
Which is helpful for everybody we know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing your expertise with us as well.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And for Heart Energy, I'm Jessica Morales.